Hey, yo, what's good? This is your man Kamikaze, the Kingmaker, president of Hourglass Media Group and manager of Dear Silas, and you're tuned in to Sip Control. And we having all the control. Now let's talk. The reason why I said what I said, man, basically is because, I'm feeling an energy now where we're turning the page in the city. And really kind of it's time out. We have tangible success stories of people that you can see in the city that are making waves on a bigger stage. And I'm happy about that because now it's eliminating these artists' ability to make excuses for why they're not on. And it's not anything new. It's something that we've been hearing for probably 25 years. I've been hearing it, as long as I was doing music, and even after, my post-artist stage, now even being in a manager and an administrative role with Hourglass and with Dear Silas. You're going to always have artists that are going to whine and complain. You're going to always have artists who are going to be looking for handouts. And my rant, I guess, my video was kind of sparked on the fact that, this past weekend, we had a lot of great things happen in the city. You had Hollywood Luck and Mike Hustle to put their own shows together and bet on themselves. You had Rita Brent, who sold out 2 shows at the Alamo Theater, 500 seats, had a line wrapped around the corner, man, cars around the street. You got Dear Silas, who has his partnership with RCA and with Sony, and is about to headline at the Mississippi State Fair, which is something that has never ever happened before for hometown hip hop artists, man. He's gonna be headlining at the fair, and that's a really big deal. You got T. Lewis DJing for Lil Wayne, Lil Wayne's official DJ. I mean, you got Hershey Black that's out there doing this thing on a producer tip. You got Angie Thomas, who has a bestseller, who is from the city of Jackson. So you see people who are succeeding from the city of Jackson and who are showing love to the city of Jackson. So it's really kind of time out for the excuses. What you have to do is you have to quantify that, and you have to say that Jackson just doesn't support you, because it's obvious that there are people here who have done things the right way and put a plan together and have connected with their fan base in whatever sense, and they are being successful. So you can't say that it can't be done. And I just wanted to say, and I wanted to challenge those people, and one of the reasons why I'm on Sip Control right now is I want to challenge the narrative that I see a lot of these artists get on Sip Control and a lot of these other mediums and try to say that there's nothing happening in Jackson, that there's nobody doing it big out of the city of Jackson, that you have to leave Jackson to make it. And it's just untrue. It's just basically an incorrect statement, because you have Dear Silas right now, and there is not another hip hop artist in the state right now that is doing what Dear Silas is doing right now on this stage, outside of Banner and Ray Shrimmer and Crit. Dear Silas's partnership with RCA and what he's doing nationwide right now, there's nobody else on Dear Silas's level right now in the state. And that's not conjecture, and that's not anything that's really up for debate. That's just facts. There's nobody doing what Rita Brent is doing on the comedy stage right now. That's not conjecture. That's not debatable. That's just facts. You can't sit here and say that we don't have a scene. You can't sit here and say that you can't make it here. All of those myths that you heard over the years have been debunked. And Dear Silas or Rita or some of these other artists, DJ T. Lewis, they're out here proving every day that those myths are not true. So you can't keep making those excuses, man. Like, now it's really at the point now where you just making an excuse. You're just really just admitting that you don't want to deal with the fact that you have yourself not put together a package. You yourself have not connected with your artists. You yourself have not made a good product or made good music. It's totally your fault. It's not the DJ's fault. It's not the city's fault. It's not the fans' fault. The damn show ain't the OG's fault, because I know my peers, we are absolutely sick to death of y'all trying to blame us for y'all shortcomings, and we not in your way. Creatively, I can't really actually say what an artist needs to do, because if you're creating art, that art is coming from a place within yourself. We all know Dear Silas does content different than what a lot of other artists do around here. But then you got Lil Ron and you got Bob Street that's putting out quality street music. Like, man, I listen to Bankroll show and I want to sell dope. Like, every time I listen to it, like, I want to go sell dope. Like, that is a jamming ass record. And I told him that. So it's not really about the content, and it's not really about, the what. It's about the package. It's about how it sounds sonically. It's about, how you connect with the people that you are listening to. You know, Bob Street and Lil Ron connected with their audience. They know who their audience is and they connected with them. So they made a record that people can dig and people can listen to. So there's quality street music that's out there and there's trash street music, but there's quality, you know, hip hop out there, and then there's trash hip hop. There's some people that do things in other lanes that just don't make good music, period. And we got to understand that there has to be, in order for Jackson, Mississippi to be able to get to the point where it needs to get to, there has to be a bar. We have to set a standard. There has to be a line that we cannot go under sonically. The music has to be mixed and mastered properly. It can't be 2 tracks. You gotta have the stems for your records. You gotta stop buying these YouTube beats. You gotta stop, you know, rapping over your vocals at shows. Your package, your bio, your EPK, how you network, how you move, all of those things have to be in place these days, man, because one of the reasons why the excuses no longer work is because, to be honest with you, this generation of artists, y'all have more available to you and you have more outlets available to you right now than has ever happened in the history of the music industry. You have the ability to go directly to the consumer. You don't have to go between anyone. Of course, the DJ is still important. The radio is still important. If you want to go those routes, those people are there and you have to respect what they do in those particular lanes. But on the real, all you have to do is set up a page and set up a streaming service and go directly to the consumer. And there's no one in between that relationship between you and the consumer. The problem is people are not understanding and learning how to connect with their audience. If you learn how to connect with your audience, it really doesn't matter, because you got a lot of artists out here who don't have radio records. When Silas got his deal, Silas was not getting played on the radio heavily, anywhere at all whatsoever. He wasn't getting club played heavily. There were some DJs, definitely we can shout out, you know, Finesse and DJ MOB, DJ Scrap, DJ Joe Nasty, Venom, you know, Cujo. There were a lot of DJs who were actually supporting Dear Silas because they, you know, were digging him. But for the most part, you didn't go into a club and hear Dear Silas getting played. Stan has been really cool at the radio station, but a lot of what happened is because of what we did independently and what we did on our own to bring our product to him. But Dear Silas connected with his fan base, and he connected with people to the point where he's able to put 350, 400 people in a venue to come see him perform. You know, he's able to reach a fan base that a lot of people can't reach. They identify with his music, they identify with the brand that he presents. And a lot of times, a lot of artists just have not figured that part of it out. So it's not a matter of, okay, well, do they need better beats or do they need to rap this way? I think the entire package and the presentation needs to be a little bit better, and artists need to learn how to connect with a fan base. If you are connecting with a fan base, it doesn't matter who the hell is out there. Nobody can stop you. Once you have connected with your fan base is going to want your music regardless of if you're on the radio or if a DJ is playing you in the club. There's nobody that can stop you from reaching that audience because you have a direct line to them. And a lot of people just don't. You know, I talk to a lot of street niggas all the time. They say, well, you know, man, you know, I don't really fuck with the internet. There's people that really want to do this music, first of all, and then there's people that are just playing with it that want to try to do it because they want to try to fuck hoes and smoke dope. And you got to kind of weed those people out. If you don't have the people skills or the social skills to be able to go up to people and network and do that kind of thing, you need to get somebody that can help you do that. You need to get somebody that can help you to be that mouthpiece. Like when I see artists on this platform or other platforms and then they tell me, well, I hadn't heard of such and such, or I had heard of such and such, and I know somebody on here was saying, well, you know, I don't really listen to Dear Silas. I hadn't heard Dear Silas, you know, that kind of thing. Well, you know, that's cool, but if I'm in the league, if I'm in the NBA and I'm playing on the squad, it's my job to know who else in the league is balling. It's my job to know what their stats are. It's my job to know that they exist, because at some point I'm gonna have to run into them. You don't think James Harden knows about the Greek Freak, and Russell Westbrook knows about Oladipo, and LeBron knows what's happening with players on the other team in the league, because you watch game tape, you watch film. If you are doing this music professionally and you are supposed to be doing it and this is supposed to be something you want to do, it's your job to know who else is out there doing it. You know, I've been in this business for a long time. I got grown kids, okay? So when you 18 and 19 years old, you 20, 21 years old, and you have kind of like a limited life experience scope, that's what you're gonna do. Because when I was 18, 19, that's my exact attitude. That's how I had. So a lot of times people say, well, you know, they're being disrespectful, but a lot of times it's just because they just don't know any better. When you have not been exposed to it and you hadn't been around to be able to see, you are only going to be able to answer based upon the experience that you have. So when I saw it, you know, I chuckled at the end of the day, but I see that you did do your research. I see that you did go out and you did look and you did check the numbers, and you were smart enough to be able to do that because you check yours every day, and all of those cats check theirs. So if you really kind of go deeper into it, they may say on the surface that I don't care and I'm not looking and I'm not paying attention, but they do, because at the end of the day, they are looking to see where they at, and they're going to be looking to see where they're at juxtaposed to where somebody else is at. So I don't really worry about it, because, you know, you're looking at a difference in age brackets too. And 18 and 19-year-olds might not be listening to Dear Silas as much as the 25 to 32-year-olds are. So there's a difference in age thing. So it's not like, you know, because with those 18 and 19-year-old artists, most of the people that I hang around are not listening to 18 and 19-year-olds because they can't relate to the experience. So it's not that he doesn't exist or somebody doesn't exist on this end. It's just that your fan base is different than this particular fan base, but it still does not excuse you from not knowing what's going on. Because I do this, I know about everybody that's doing music, from Dear Silas all the way down to Bankroll Show, all the way down to Nico, all the way down to the guy, what's his name? I think it's SQ Lack, you know, Zeke, you know, all those cats that you can name. Like, it's a whole list of them. Like, I know it's about 10, 15, whatever the case is. It's out there right now that's in a certain age bracket out there. But I watch. I have to research. I have to know who is doing something in this city. I have to know who is making music around here and who is connecting with their people. That's my job, to be able to do that, because I'm in the music business. So if you are doing this, it's your job to know who your peers are that are adjacent to you, that are doing what it is that they're doing. And when he played the record for me, you know, and the story that he tells is correct, he was going to give that record to somebody else. Now, I'm going to tell you who he was going to get a record to, but he had written the record and he was like, I'm going to give this record to someone else, and it's somebody that y'all know, and it probably would have been a hit in the same fashion. But when I heard it, I was like, hell no, you ain't finna get that record to nobody. We ain't getting that record to no motherfucking body. This is a hit record. Like, it's one of those records, like, when you heard it, you knew instantly that it was gonna be a hit. It was just absolutely, without a doubt, on first listen, it was going to catch, you know, your ear, and it was gonna catch not just his core audience, but this was a record that was gonna catch on and has caught on with other people who were not originally Dear Silas fans, who have gone in, and that's what a record is supposed to do. It's supposed to grab your fan base, but at the same time, it's supposed to be able to go out and grab people who have not listened to you before and bring them in to listen to the rest of the music. So I told him that we was keeping the song. He was like, bet. He recorded the record. It was the last record recorded for the last Cherry Blossom. We put the album out independently in October of 2018. It charted on iTunes independently, which is something else that hadn't been done around here. Like, Dear Silas has just been constantly making history and doing first. So it charted on iTunes, and then the next thing you know, we saw a fan who had put the Dexter meme up with the record. And literally in the span of like 4 or 5 days, our entire world changed, because the meme kept getting reposted, and then Complex posted it. And I remember, because I was running on the track in Fondren Park. It was a Sunday, and I was running and getting a run in, and Silas hit me, and he was like, Complex just posted the record. And I looked at it, and I was like, all right, it's finna pop off. And literally the next morning, which was Monday morning, this was a Sunday, literally the next morning, my phone rung off the hook. And I had about 8 different labels, independent and major labels, to call my phone. They had heard the record. 2 or 3 of them had went in and did the deep dive and went in and heard the rest of his catalog. And for 2 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I had at least maybe 10, 15 calls a day, back and forth with labels. And those labels, 5 of them actually flew in during the course. It's so crazy because people don't understand that in Jackson, Mississippi, in a 3-day period, from Wednesday to Friday of that week after they started calling on Monday, that there were actually 5 record labels in the city of Jackson that flew into Jackson and were riding around Jackson, unbeknownst to everybody else. And all of them were here jockeying for position to talk to Silas, to have him to be a part of their companies. And that's something that's unprecedented. Nobody's ever done that before. When Banner got his deal, he left and he was in Atlanta. Crit left Meridian and went to Atlanta. That's where they found their riches and their fortunes. Ray Shrimmer left Tupelo and went to Atlanta. 5 labels came into Jackson, Mississippi. They came to Dear Silas. They came here to find him, and that's unprecedented. And that's one of the reasons why we say that there are no more excuses. So they flew in, and ultimately, the people that caught our ear and our eye the best was RCA Sony, because what they were saying as far as going beyond, because we knew Dear Silas was more than just that record, and they were interested in more than just that record. But on our end, we were interested in creating a dynasty and a legacy, and we were interested in creating something independent that we could bring back here. People know the history of LaFace Records and what LaFace Records did for Atlanta. People know what Luke Records did for Miami. If people know what Juicy and Paul did for Memphis. If people know what Screwed Up Shop did for Houston. That's what we want to do here in Jackson. So it's a partnership with RCA. He's not signed to RCA directly as an artist. They signed him for Skirt Skirt and The Last Cherry Blossom. And then beyond that, we decide what we want to do. Beyond that, we are completely in control of our destiny. We are completely in control of our music. We are completely in control of the moves that we make. So the next project might be on RCA, or it might be with somebody else. Or we might decide to do exactly like Crit did and leave and do the independent route, because RCA did afford us the ability to be able to make major connections and make a few little meetups that proved to be prosperous. So who knows what the future brings. But for those that have been around and know what's happening, the new EP is done. The new EP is finished. The new EP is going to drop soon, and we got a really, really, really fantastic feature, and we got a really, really fantastic video, and it's going to blow y'all's mind when y'all see it. And that also happened right here in the city of Jackson. So when they give me permission to talk about it, because I was ready to talk about it that day when we were shooting the video, but they shut me down and they told me to delete all my stuff. But I absolutely have no tolerance for the whining, and I have no tolerance for the crying, and I have no tolerance for, all of the boo-hooing when people put lists up and, I didn't make the list, and you got all your friends putting your name under the picture, talking about such and such need to be on the list, and then I go try to look at their page. They don't even have a Spotify page. They don't have a SoundCloud page. You don't have anything up on streaming services, but yet you telling somebody you supposed to be on a motherfucking list, and we can't even find your music. Or in a lot of instances, y'all hollering about y'all need to be on the list, and I go listen to the music, and the music is trash. It's not mixed properly, doesn't sound good, you rapping about the same bullshit over and over again, I can't find you anywhere, but you under a post tagging yourself and saying that you supposed to be on a list, and a list is trash, and your music is just as trash as the other people that you claiming is trash. Most of the people around here, man, to be honest with you, and I don't care who hears this and what they feel about it, the people that's actually working, that actually have good music, you never hear them whining, and you never hear them complaining. And you never hear them putting up posts, and you never hear them talking about the DJs ain't doing this, and the radio ain't doing that, and somebody else ain't doing this. Somebody else's fault. It's somebody else's problem. Somebody else ain't doing what they supposed to do. You need to turn that into yourself and be introspective and say to yourself, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing that my music is not connected? And once you do that, then you might solve some of those problems, man, and stop trying to blame other people for your inefficiencies and your inability to connect with the audience that you are trying to reach. A lot of people don't even know who their audience is. A lot of y'all out there making songs and rapping, and y'all trying to rap to everybody in the world. I want the world to hear it. Y'all making songs. I'm gonna make a song for the girls in the club. I'm gonna make a song for my niggas on the street. I'm gonna make a song for the smokers out there. You making a song for everybody because you're trying to rap to everybody in the world, and that's not how you connect with a fan base. Find out the people that you connect with, that your music connects with particularly, and you make music for them, and you reach out to those people, and you build that foundation, and then that foundation will build out. That's the theme in 2019. The motto for the rest of the year is, it ain't Jackson, it's you.